Hello, we're back home. I hope you enjoyed those last videos. I do sort of try and, if it's boat themed, I think it's really interesting to see, some places that are quite boaty, or if we go on adventures with Tadpole, it should go on the channel, shouldn't it? So I hope you enjoyed all that. Back to reality. So I've got a few things I need to tell you. Mabel, my camper van, it turns out she's not mega good at towing, and there's a reason for that. She has the automatic gearbox, and without going into the technicals, automatic gearboxes kind of whiz about a bit and they engage and they slip, and that generates heat. And if you've got something on the back of the van and it's towing it, it generates even more heat as the van struggles to get up the hills. Now, I've been talking to my VW friends on the VW forums, and what I'm going to do is a series of upgrades and repairs and oil changes on the van this week. She's the only thing I've got with the tow bar now, because since my old car went. And we're going to hopefully see if we can get her fixed. Might put it on the channel, might not. I don't know how many people think tow bars and whatnot are relevant. I don't know. We'll see. But I've also got what's called an ADSC, like one of those little boxes you plug in and you plug it into your laptop and you can see what's going on in the engine. So we've got all that coming. In fact, that's been a long time coming, actually. And hopefully we'll get to the root of the problem. We won't need to do any more than the oil change, and then we'll see how we go. One thing that did happen on the video, I last went to Menai and I went over the A5, which is super hilly, and I noticed the van wouldn't go into fourth gear. Now, actually, it turns out it was going into fourth gear, but this kind of differential lock that it has wasn't working. And that's one of the first signs the gearbox is overheating. So I asked the local garage here yesterday or Saturday, can I risk it? And the answer was a definite no. There's some rather large hills to get to Ullswater. And then the forum, I also posed a question, and Abe also said, no, you're an idiot if you do that without at least checking and doing a few things and checking first. So unfortunately, the Ullswater trip is called off. I'm really upset about that because I had loads of stuff I wanted to do. We were going to test that big sail that the other lugger that we were going with has got. It's really sad, but you know what? I'd rather have my camper van healthy than a few days in Ullswater. And I'd rather have her healthy so I can tow Lulu back to wherever she's going for the winter. So yeah, so there's that news. This is what's left of my battery after the latest trip on the sea. As you can see, this seawater largely got in on the front of the battery here, and I think it was this switch and also the USB got a little bit corroded here. Just meant that the battery just was making a squeaky noise. I couldn't switch it off. It was just waterlogged. And when I opened it, there was water like right up to here. You may even see, you can see a little bit of the water tide mark in there. The salt mark, should I say. This circuit board, which actually hangs from the top, was fine. Looks fine. A little bit of salt corrosion on there. I think that we've had a go with this battery. It was one of my old camping batteries that had no other use. It was kind of useful. It worked while it worked, but I think I've had so many problems with it and getting these connectors right that I think we need to think this through again. Now, you may have noticed this is also a battery box. Now, I've actually, before I went away, I actually upgraded my camper van to a lithium-ion battery and put an inverter in her. She didn't really have any of that, and she had this old lead-acid battery that kept running down. And now she's like a fully fledged camper van with like a 2,000 watt inverter, a super big battery. Oh, it's been amazing. So she's fully contained now electrically with the solar panel as well. And out came this. So I don't really know why the lead acid battery was in this box to begin with, but it was. And it comes with a top. And I reckon we could sort of get that top to compress and seal. It's got these two little gaps which could silicone up if we need to, but I'll come on to that in a minute. But the thought occurred to me that this could be the perfect size because, sorry about this, we've now stripped out the battery from the old box, which turned out to not be the cleverest of ideas. And now this is tiny compared to here. So what we're going to do is make a conventional battery setup now, instead of having all these little gimmicks and gizmo, you know, having that full-size sort of old camping box. It turns out when you open that up and had a look inside, most of that was to do with the inverter, which we're never going to use on board. So we're going to turn this into a box. This is the battery. I've hooked it up at the moment. These are now 12-volt outlets for the battery. These are actually quite reliable. This is an input to the battery, so that will go to the solar stroke engine outboard charge. Now, I've also got a proper lithium ion charge controller, which we will need as well. Now, you should be able to run the outboard through this, and this should control it. Now, the other things we've got to do are put in some switches. So I've got these are waterproof switches, on and off. Not sure why they've got 3 cables, but normally they only have 2, but we'll work that out. These are going to hopefully be drilled into and sealed into the side of the box and labelled. One for the TP10 controller or whatever's connected to that. Sometimes it's lights. One to a second pump, hopefully. And then one maybe to switch off the solar charge. I don't know, rather than disconnecting it. Would make everything a lot neater. Or we could have a third outlet for things like lights. I don't know. But that they can all go in now. We've got these inline fuses which will need to be connected to each one of these. I think the positive side. And then you choose a fuse. So basically, so you don't damage your battery if something goes wrong and they start drawing 20 amps, things like that. This is 12 volt to 5 volt USB. They have a 3 volt output each, a 3 amp output each, which should be ample. And that will go in here as well. And then we've even got this, which could connect up to the battery, just a simple 12 volt marine grade 12 volt cigarette lighter. Now that's handy because you know there's loads of little things that might plug into that you could charge up, and also you could put in a 12 volt to USB in here as well, which could be handy. What I've actually learned, I've learned quite a lot of things from the battery box. First of all, the old one was too big and we need to use a dedicated battery like this rather than the whole sort of camping solution. Secondly, the box was too big really, and that was mainly the reason. Thirdly, I don't use it as much as I really think I do. So what I think I'm going to do is things that need to be charged from this battery will probably get charged overnight. So things like my 5 volt 10,000 milliamp charge brick, I actually use that and charge my cameras up easily a whole day on those, and then I just need to charge that brick up at night, or have a second brick that's charging up in here and then I swap the bricks over. That's a much better solution. My phone, again, just doesn't need charging up as much as you think it does, but can also charge off that brick if needed. I've also got my little tablet that I bring, and that's got something like a 20,000 milliamp battery, and it will charge. You can charge from that as well. So I've got loads of charging solutions. I think if we can run the pump that I would like to fit, the TP10 and another line, and then just a bit of charging from this box, I think we'll be there. So that means that we could potentially seal this up, screw it down maybe, seal it up. I think we need another couple of screws in there. We can seal these up with little butterfly bolts, which are really useful. And then I think any cables could maybe come out of here. Now, the idea is I'm going to put a shelf in here. Because this is fiberglass, I'm hoping that'll be quite easy to do. So the battery's raised off the floor. So if we do get water leaks, at least it's not going to be sitting in water. So there we go. There's the battery box. I might take it down to the boat actually this week and see if we actually work on it this week and try and get it to a certain point. As you can see, everything fits in and we've got a ton of room left. We've got to work out where this charge controller will go, but maybe that will go in there or on one side so we can see it better. But as you can see, everything will fit in there. The box is totally waterproof, very impact resistant. The only thing we're going to have to do is work out how we fix it into the boat. It's got these little feet here. So maybe we can work with Velcro. I don't know. Or maybe, it would be easy to put a screw in there and then seal the screw up somehow. We'll have to work on that and come up with an idea when we come up with it. But there we go. There's the battery box. And hopefully we can get that installed and we'll have battery box Mark 3, I think it is. And we'll get to a solution which is, we're starting to get there, I would say.